Welcome to Group B of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. At first glance, this may not seem like one of the tournament's most talked about groups. However, once we take a closer look, a very intriguing picture begins to emerge. Because in this group, it won't be just the footballing quality of Canada, Switzerland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Qatar that determines the outcome. Long-distance travel, varying climate conditions, physical endurance, and tactical discipline will also play a major role. Moreover, this group could be especially important for Turkey. Depending on how the tournament unfolds, one of the teams advancing from this group could potentially become an opponent in the round of 32. So, let's get started. First of all, we need to discuss the most important non-football aspect of Group B. From a logistical perspective, this is one of the most demanding groups in the entire World Cup. A significant number of matches will be played along the Toronto-Vancouver corridor. The distance between these two cities is approximately 3,300 kilometers. In other words, some teams will be forced to travel almost from one end of a continent to the other during the group stage. And that isn't just a transportation issue. Long flights can directly affect players' biological rhythms, sleep patterns, and recovery processes. Of course, there will be roughly 5 to 6 days between group stage matches, so the impact is unlikely to be devastating. Nevertheless, for teams with limited squad depth, the physical burden could still become a significant factor. Climate differences are another important consideration. Toronto tends to be warmer and more humid during the summer months, while Vancouver offers much cooler and more balanced weather conditions. As a result, teams will not only have to adapt to their opponents, but also to changing environmental conditions. For Switzerland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Qatar in particular, this places a greater emphasis on squad rotation and physical preparation. Host nation Canada, meanwhile, enjoys a natural advantage due to its lower travel demands. Now, let's begin with the hosts. Canada is no longer arriving at a World Cup simply hoping to participate. They are now a genuinely competitive force. Under Jesse Marsch, the team has developed a high-intensity, aggressive style built around pressing from the front. Coming from the Red Bull football philosophy, Marsch has implemented a system that perfectly suits Canada's athletic player profile. The team's biggest star is undoubtedly Alphonso Davies. Davies has evolved far beyond the traditional definition of a left-back. Although injuries during his Bayern Munich career have occasionally disrupted his rhythm, he remains a player capable of instantly elevating Canada's level whenever he wears the national team shirt. When given space to attack, even the world's best defenses struggle to contain him. Leading the line is Jonathan David. Now regarded as one of Europe's most consistent goal scorers, David represents Canada's greatest attacking threat thanks to his finishing ability and intelligent movement inside the penalty area. Alongside him, Kyle Larin uses his physical presence to wear down defenders, while Promise David has the aerial ability to cause serious problems for opposing backlines. In midfield, Steven Eustachio serves as the team's balancing force. He contributes defensively while also acting as the starting point of many attacking moves through his passing quality. Ismaël Koné could prove to be one of Canada's secret weapons. His ball-carrying ability, dynamism, and effectiveness in transition situations give him the potential to become one of the tournament's surprise performers. Recent performances suggest that Canada is entering the tournament in excellent shape. They have recorded positive results against a variety of opponents in preparation matches and appear particularly well prepared from a physical standpoint. Their biggest advantage, of course, is playing at home. However, that advantage can sometimes turn into pressure. As expectations rise, so does the fear of making mistakes. Particularly in matches where they are considered favorites, this psychological burden could become a major test. Now let's move on to the team that many consider the group's strongest favorite on paper, Switzerland. One of the most consistently successful tournament teams of recent years, Switzerland once again arrives with a remarkably balanced squad. Managed by Murat Yakin, the Swiss play a disciplined, patient style centered around controlling matches. They may not be packed with global superstars who dominate headlines, but they are always extremely difficult to beat. Because Switzerland knows exactly who they are and how they want to play. The leader in midfield is Granit Xhaka. After enjoying one of the best periods of his career with Bayer Leverkusen, the experienced midfielder remains the player who dictates the tempo of the game. He understands perfectly when to accelerate and when to slow things down. Alongside him, Remo Freuler provides defensive stability, while young talent Johan Manzambi could emerge as one of the breakout stars of this tournament. Despite still being at the beginning of his career, his rapid development has already attracted the attention of several major European clubs. In attack, Breel Embola's physical strength remains a valuable weapon. The spaces he creates can then be exploited by quick players such as Ruben Vargas. At the back, leadership comes from Manuel Akanji. Drawing upon his experience at Manchester City, Akanji serves as the organizer of the defensive line. One of Switzerland's greatest strengths is tactical flexibility. They can seamlessly switch between 3-man and 4-man defensive systems. That versatility allows them to adapt effectively to virtually any opponent. However, they are not flawless. Against compact defensive blocks, Switzerland can sometimes struggle to create enough chances. For that reason, it would not be surprising if they encounter more difficulties than expected against teams such as Qatar and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Next up is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia enters this tournament as a team in transition, yet they are certainly not a side that should be underestimated. Their physicality, technical quality, and competitive spirit make them dangerous opponents under any circumstances. Their road to the World Cup was far from easy. Eliminating Italy in the playoff stage to secure qualification captured the attention of the entire football world. That achievement demonstrated just how mentally resilient this team can be. The most important attacking figure is Edin Dzeko. Set to participate in what will likely be the final major tournament of his career, the veteran striker remains highly effective inside the penalty area. While age may have slowed him down somewhat, his leadership and finishing ability remain invaluable for Bosnia. Alongside him, Ermedin Demirovic adds mobility and variety to the attack. In midfield, Haris Hajradinovic carries much of the team's creative responsibility. He is especially dangerous from set pieces and when delivering key passes. However, this is also where Bosnia's biggest weakness becomes apparent. Much of the team's creativity depends on a single player. If opponents manage to neutralize Hajradinovic, Bosnia's attacking production could decline significantly. Defensively, players such as Tarek Muharamovic, Sead Kolasinac, and Amar Dedic provide strength and physical presence. In fact, Bosnia's entire game plan is largely built around that physical advantage. Set pieces, crosses, and aerial battles represent their most important offensive weapons. If matches turn into physical contests, Bosnia could gain the upper hand. However, when the pace increases and the game opens up, defensive vulnerabilities tend to emerge. For that reason, they could face particular difficulties against Canada. And finally, Qatar. After the disappointment of hosting the 2022 World Cup, Qatar returns to football's biggest stage. This time, they appear to be a much more experienced side. Winning the AFC Asian Cup helped restore the team's confidence. The key stars remain Akram Afif and Almoez Ali. Afif stands out because of his creativity, while Almoez Ali remains the primary goal-scoring threat. In midfield, Abdulaziz Hatem provides balance. On the wing, Edmilson Jr. is one of the players capable of making a difference. Defensively, Tarek Salman serves as a leader, although his suspension for the opening match could prove to be a significant disadvantage. Qatar's greatest strength is the continuity of its squad. Many of these players have spent years playing together. They understand each other extremely well. However, in terms of physical quality, they lag behind the other teams in the group. As a result, they may struggle at times to control matches. Under new head coach Julen Lopetegui, we may see a Qatar side that focuses more on possession and passing football. Whether that tactical evolution can succeed on the World Cup stage remains to be seen. Looking at the bigger picture, Group B appears to be a group where physical endurance, discipline, and small details could make all the difference. Canada benefits from home advantage. Switzerland possesses invaluable tournament experience. Bosnia and Herzegovina has the potential to spring a surprise. and Qatar will attempt to exceed expectations and catch opponents off guard. The match most likely to decide the fate of the group is Canada versus Switzerland. That encounter could determine who finishes at the top. Meanwhile, the clash between Bosnia and Herzegovina and Qatar may prove crucial in the battle for third place and potential upset scenarios. According to our simulation results, Switzerland enters the tournament as the group favorite. Canada also appears well positioned to advance. Bosnia and Herzegovina emerges as the strongest candidate for third place, while Qatar faces a difficult challenge. But that is precisely what makes the World Cup so special. Sometimes it's a set piece, sometimes it's an individual mistake, and sometimes it is a single moment of inspiration. Any one of those factors can completely rewrite the story. That is why Group B could end up being far more exciting than it appears on paper. Who do you think will finish top of this group? Can Canada make the most of its home advantage? Or will Switzerland once again use its experience to claim first place? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next group analysis.